Okay, so trigonometry. Trigonometry is about calculating the missing sides and missing angles from right angle triangles. So they must be right angle triangles. If it's not, it's the sine rule and the cosine rule, which is something totally different. So what you need to learn are your three formula triangles, more triangles. This is your SOHCAHTOA, because this lets you know which formula you need and whether you're going to be timesing or dividing. So your sine, cosine, and your tangent, your SC and T, go in the bottom left-hand corner. Your SOH, SOH, your CAH, CAH, and your TOA, TOA. So you probably learn SOHCAHTOA, but you don't necessarily learn it at these triangles. It's really, really important and useful if you learn them like this. So take a note of these and put them to one side. And let's have a go at using them in an example. So you're given a triangle, a right angle triangle. They give you a length of 7 meters and they give you an angle of 29 degrees. Okay, so what we need to do is you need to label the size of the triangle that are a part of the question and what they want you to calculate. So for example, if they label this side down here x and they want you to calculate x. So first of all, look at the angle that they give you, whether it's an actual value or they want you to calculate. That's where you start. So from that standpoint, directly opposite that angle is your opposite side. But because it's not part of the question, it's not the length that they've given you, the one they want you to calculate, you can discount that. You can discount that now, you can discount it later. The longest side here is the hypotenuse, and the side right next to the angle in question is the adjacent, and that's the one that they want you to calculate. So you're looking for the formula that has A and H in it. So you look back at your triangles, you look for the triangle that's got A and H in it, okay? And we want to calculate the adjacent, okay? This is your adjacent. So according to your CAH formula, you cover up the adjacent. You want to find that. So you're left with cosine and hypotenuse. And because they're next door to each other, that means times. So to work out your adjacent, it is going to be the cosine times the hypotenuse. And in this case, your cosine is 29 degrees. Cos 29, and you're going to times it by the hypotenuse, which is 7. So you need your calculator. Let's get my calculator out. So I want cos 29, cos 29. I don't know how well you can see that. I'm going to put the bracket in as well and times it by 7. And there's our answer, 6.1222, and so on to one decimal place, 6.1, and it's meters because you were given a length in meters there. So that's how you calculate the missing side. If you want to calculate a missing angle, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to label your triangle the same way. You need to figure out which side is the opposite, hypotenuse, whatever, to let you know which formula you're going to need. So for example, we don't know what that angle is. They want us to calculate it. They're going to give us this side here, which is 12 meters, and they're going to give us this side here, which is 9 meters. So from the perspective of this angle, this is our opposite side. This side next to the angle is the adjacent. Yes, that side is the hypotenuse. I'm not going to label it. I don't need it. If you do need to label it, by all means, but do cross it out because you don't need it. The opposite is part of the question and the adjacent is part of the question. We need to check to see which formula we need. Which one of our triangles has got O and A in it? O and A, that's our TOA, okay? So, I mean, I can just draw it for you over here as well. There's your TOA. And we want to calculate the angle. It's not the opposite, it's not the adjacent, it's the angle, which is your tan, okay? So you cover that up. So you want O and A, and one on top of the other means divide. So your tan is going to be the opposite divided by the adjacent. So your opposite value is 12, and you divide that by the adjacent value, which is 9. 12 divided by 9. So 12 divided by 9, you get 4/3. Press your SD button, you get 1.3. But you're like, well, that's not an angle. No, it's not an angle. The next thing you need to do, though, is you need to type in either shift or second and then tan. So now I press shift and tan and then equals, and I get my answer of 53.1 degrees. 53.1 degrees. So that's how you calculate a missing side or a missing angle of a right angled triangle. These are the formulas that you need. When two values are next door to each other, you times them. If one's on top of the other, you need to divide. To find the side, you're going to be just timesing a tan value by adjacent, or you're going to be timesing a cos value by adjacent. But if you're trying to find an angle, you're always going to have to press shift. You're still going to do like a division. You're going to do a division because you're not going to times anything else. You're going to do a division of opposite and adjacent or so on, and you're going to have to press shift before you get the value of your angle. So hopefully that is helpful.